You know what I've realized? Most people live their lives like they're afraid of drowning, so they never go beyond the shallow end. They stay where their feet can still touch the ground, where everything feels predictable, where they don't have to risk being pulled under. It's safer there, right? You know the rules, you know how it feels, and you don't have to face the uncertainty that comes with venturing out where you can't see the bottom. But here's the truth. Love, passion, purpose. None of that lives in the shallow. The shallow end is where comfort hides. It's where routine and fear shake hands and agree to keep you from growing. And yet, we convince ourselves it's enough. We tell ourselves, at least I'm not getting hurt. At least I'm not failing. But we forget safety doesn't equal happiness. It just means you've learned to settle. I see it all the time. People smiling for photos, posting their highlight reels, saying all the right things, living all the right scripts. But deep inside, something feels missing. There's a voice that whispers, "This can't be it. There's more." I remember a time when I was in a relationship that looked perfect from the outside. Everyone thought we were the ideal couple. We smiled for pictures, finished each other's sentences, and never raised our voices. But beneath that quiet perfection, something was off. We were so afraid of rocking the boat that we forgot to ask if the boat was even heading anywhere. I remember sitting across from her one night at dinner, looking at her and realizing I don't really know her, not the way I want to. Not the way you know someone when you've seen their insecurities, their doubts, their ugly days, their real truth. But I didn't say anything. I played it safe. I told myself it wasn't the right moment, that maybe she already knew, that maybe I was just overthinking it. I kept it polite. I kept it controlled. And when it ended, I didn't just lose her, I lost the chance to go deeper, to discover something real, to find that raw connection that comes when two people stop performing and start being. That experience taught me something painful but powerful. You can't build depth while standing in the shallow. You can't create intimacy if you're too afraid to go beneath the surface. The shallow end might feel easier, but it's where dreams go to suffocate. It's where truth never gets spoken because it might make someone uncomfortable. It's where love becomes an act instead of an experience. We do this in every area of our lives. We scroll through people instead of getting to know them. We talk about the weather instead of what's weighing on our heart. We chase goals that look good instead of ones that mean something. We stay in relationships because they're convenient, not because they're alive. And all the while there's this quiet ache inside us saying, baby, please, just go deeper. Deeper doesn't mean complicated, it means honest. It means saying, this is what I really feel. It means asking the hard questions. What do you really want? What scares you? What breaks you? Because that's where connection is born. That's where we find each other. I've met people who've been together for years and still don't know each other beyond the surface. They know birthdays, favorite foods, pet peeves, but they don't know what keeps the other person awake at night. They don't know what memories make them cry, what dreams they've buried, what parts of themselves they've stopped believing in. Because going deeper requires courage. The courage to say, I want to understand you even if what I find scares me. And that courage doesn't just apply to relationships, it applies to how we live. When was the last time you sat with yourself and really listened? Not distracted, not scrolling, not numbing, just listening to what your heart is trying to say. Maybe it's whispering that you've been pretending. Maybe it's reminding you that you were meant for more than what you've settled for, but you can't hear it while splashing in the shallows. You have to dive beneath the noise. When you go deeper, everything changes. Colors get richer. Conversations become meaningful. Love becomes sacred. Work becomes purpose. Because the truth is, depth isn't just where you find others. It's where you find yourself. And yes, it's scary at first. It feels like stepping off a ledge and hoping the water will hold you. But it always does. It always does, if you're willing to trust the dive. So stop living half-heartedly. Stop showing up halfway. Stop keeping your heart at the surface because you're afraid of what might happen if you let it sink a little lower. Because the most beautiful parts of life don't live where your feet can touch. They live where you learn to float, to trust, to surrender. Baby, please, just go deeper, because that's where everything real begins. The reason most people don't go deeper is because it requires something terrifying. Vulnerability. It means standing there without your armor, without your perfect smile, without the lines you've rehearsed to make sure no one sees too much. It means saying, here I am. This is me, not the filtered version, not the one that always has it together, the real me. And that's terrifying, because most of us have spent our whole lives being told that our real selves aren't enough. We've been taught that if we show too much, we'll be judged, rejected, or worse, abandoned. But here's the truth. Hiding doesn't protect you, it imprisons you. Every time you pretend you're fine when you're not, every time you laugh off your pain instead of talking about it, every time you keep quiet when your heart wants to scream, you build another wall. And eventually, you can't even see out of them anymore. You start thinking that the cage you built for yourself is safety. You start confusing being numb with being strong. But vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the deepest form of strength there is, because it takes real courage to be seen as you are. I remember a moment that changed everything for me. I was standing on stage, giving a talk, and for the first time in my life, I stopped trying to impress. I stopped trying to sound perfect. I told a story about a time I failed miserably. A time I felt like I wasn't enough, when I doubted everything about myself. And as I spoke, I felt exposed, like I'd just ripped off the mask I'd been wearing for years. But something unexpected happened. People leaned in. They didn't pull away. I looked out at the audience and saw tears in their eyes. Afterward, one woman came up to me and said, "I thank you for saying what I've been too scared to admit." That's when I realized, when you dare to be real, you give other people permission to be real too. Vulnerability isn't about oversharing or dramatizing your pain. It's about honesty, the kind that makes people stop and feel something. The kind that says, I'm human, just like you. We spend so much of our lives performing, trying to appear confident, successful, unshakable. But connection doesn't come from performance, it comes from presence. From the willingness to let someone see your cracks and not rush to cover them up. The cracks are what make the light come through. And yet, vulnerability doesn't just connect you with others. It connects you with yourself. It teaches you to listen to the parts of you you've been ignoring. It makes you sit with your sadness instead of running from it. It lets you feel your fear and realize it's not there to break you. It's there to guide you. Because every emotion you've buried is a doorway to something deeper, something truer. But you'll never find it if you keep painting over it with "I'm fine." I know it's not easy. The world rewards masks. Social media thrives on illusion. Everyone's out there pretending to have it all together, and you start thinking that's the standard. You start thinking vulnerability is dangerous, that if you show your real emotions, people will think you're too much, too sensitive, too needy. But what if that's the point? What if being a too much just means being alive? The people who have moved me the most in my life weren't the ones who were perfect. They were the ones who were brave enough to be imperfect. They were the ones who said, I'm scared, but I'm showing up anyway. And that's the kind of energy that transforms rooms, relationships, and lives. That's the kind of depth that can't be faked. When you open your heart, when you tell your truth, when you say, this is what I feel, even if your voice shakes, something incredible happens. The walls you thought were protecting you start to fall away, and suddenly you can breathe again. You realize that connection isn't found in pretending to be invincible. It's found in admitting that you're not. I've learned that people don't want the polished version of you. They want the present version of you. They don't want the one who says all the right things. They want the one who feels them. They don't want your perfection. They want your presence. Because in a world that's starving for authenticity, vulnerability is the richest form of love there is. So stop apologizing for your emotions. Stop hiding your truth just to make others comfortable. Stop waiting for the world to tell you it's safe to be yourself. It never will. Be brave enough to go first, to open up, to show up, because every time you do, you give the world something real to hold on to. And that's how the shallow becomes deep, one honest moment at a time. So baby, please, just go deeper. Don't run from your emotions. Explore them. Don't numb them. Name them. That's how you grow. That's how you connect. And that's how you finally become free.